It is the 17th of January 1939, and the small African country of Ethiopia has managed to defeat the Italians, push them out of their colonies, and we have made a white peace, which means nobody's been admitting defeat. Italy is still existing, but has taken a significant amount of losses in Africa and has been utterly humiliated. So there we are. We are not going to be resting, though, because I did put a poll out. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4. I did put a poll out a little bit earlier than I actually thought. It's Saturday today while I'm recording. I'm still going to get the episode out tomorrow that you haven't seen yet, where I'm going to be doing what I just said I was doing. And I already put the poll out because I realized I actually have to pre-record already in case we want to continue. And you do want to continue. So the next goal, this was the first goal, and we have managed it. We have defeated the colonizers. We have kicked out the Italians. We've made peace, which has given us control also over Eritrea and Somaliland, which is a problem because I now have occupied territories, which I am not particularly happy with. Because that means, while they have a relatively high compliance, it does mean that I still actually have to have garrison, and I'm losing manpower, which I'm really not particularly keen on. There's actually a reasonable amount of resistance in Eritrea, specifically. So up north here, that is not good. And I assume, because they have been sort of liberated for longer, but I assume that similar things are going to happen here in the south as well. The second reason why this is a bit of a problem is because that creates a very long border between us and the United Kingdom. Well, not the United Kingdom, because this is Kenya, but the United Kingdom controls it, especially in the south here in Somaliland, in the plains, which is relatively difficult to defend. So what we're going to be doing, and I said this was the end goal for this run, if you were interested to see that still on No Step Back, because in the next DLC in By Blood Alone, Ethiopia gets a unique focus tree, and there are new mechanics, and there's all kinds of stuff, which is why I wanted to do this like the hard way still in this one for the internet, for the memes. So the goal is to liberate Africa, not to annex Africa. Because that liberating Africa means we're going to have to fight both the Axis and the Allies. I'm not going to stick around until that's all sorted out, especially not with Ethiopia, which has no industry. We have, are we actually building anything? Yeah, we are trying to build one more military factory, but it's going to take a little bit of time. So the very next step is going to be to prepare for, the very next enemy that we're going to have is going to be the United Kingdom. Now, our biggest problem, we have multiple problems with this. Right now, we are controlling, well, some seaports. But once we release these countries so we don't have to garrison them and don't have to deal with casualties from the locals being unhappy with the occupation, we no longer have seaports. We will be a landlocked country, which means that our trade, which we currently are importing steel from the Soviet Union, our trade is going to be impacted. In fact, it is not going to be working anymore. Because the British, once we are getting into war with the British, are not going to let the trade through by land, and by sea. Well, we're not going to have a port, at least in the beginning. We will have one once we capture the port in Djibouti. But then we have 20 convoys. And we also need some trains. A lot of infrastructural issues, and yeah, these convoys will be sunk by the British, and then that's that. So trade will be a major issue. In terms of resources, we have very little. We have some rubber, but that's it. And there's a bit more rubber around here in Africa. And there's a little bit of steel in South Africa, but mainly it's chromium and tungsten, which is nice, but we don't need any of that. What we do need is steel, lots and lots of steel. The only steel in Africa, there's some in Senegal, and there is a substantial amount in North Africa, in what's basically Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia in modern days. But this is controlled by the French, which means that once the Germans are going to defeat France, this is going to probably become Vichy. At least this one would be becoming Vichy, that I'm certain of. So we need to attack the Allies together with the Germans without necessarily joining the Axis. We could, but we could do it for the time being, just to get more support from the Germans, and we need to get that before France falls, and we want to obviously liberate the other things as well. So the very first thing we're going to do, we do have to do a couple of things. So if we are going to get into a war with the British, our gun production is going to suffer significantly. So what we want to have are maintenance companies, which means we need to change our templates, and we actually have an armored division now, which is absolutely terrible. We're not going to build any tanks, but I believe I have researched interwar tanks just to see if we could get. Let's see if we can do this. So could we get a tank recon? I don't think so, because we haven't even researched recon just yet. Light tank recon was sort of the idea that was thrown out in the comments, but we would have to research recon first. So okay, that's something we need to do. We obviously need better weapons, so gun production needs to come up. What are we researching right now? Industry, research, and production. Yeah, we still have a deficit in infantry equipment that we are working towards, and in artillery that we are working towards getting sorted out. I do want to take a look at our templates. So yeah, this needs a line artillery, because we're starting to fight the British. We're not going to be able to do that just with support artillery. We do, however, want also the maintenance company. Why do we want the maintenance company? Because that means we can capture equipment, which means we can take things off the British, which is a good thing to be able to do. And it reduces the amount of attrition we take, and it reduces the amount. It increases our recovery rate. But the next thing we need to check is supply. So we are connecting these supply hubs here. We are probably going to need a railroad as well down towards the port in the south here, because we do have a river connection, but it's not great. So we are going to, it's the shortest line, probably just from here and connect the port. There we go. So we'll get that railroad built as well. And then we are building another military factory. I'm going to cancel the fortresses here, because we don't really need those anymore at this point. We'll just cancel that. We do need to repair all the infrastructure. The airports are not super important, but the infrastructure I would like to have repaired. That would be great. And yes, we need trains. Now we have actually a relatively decent stability at the moment, which we're going to need, because one of the next things that we're doing here is we're going down the nationalism focus, which means then we're going into militarism and military youth, because that will boost our manpower, and we're going to need that because we need more divisions. We can't get any more mountain divisions, but we will need more divisions in order to make sure that we can hold the border while having sufficient divisions here to attack. So right now we've got 24 divisions here. I'm going to get all these port guard divisions, and let's get these all. These are relatively experienced, so I'm almost wondering if it makes sense to just switch them into the proper infantry divisions. But I do need some troops just to guard the ports. Right now we have what, 11. So let's take the less experienced ones, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and get these into a new army. And we're going to have another general. And which means we're going to get ourselves a new commander who has no experience whatsoever, but he is going to be the one leading this army. And he's just going to be, this is going to be the Sunflower Defense Corps. Yes, these guys are border guards. All right, and we're going to give them an order to do area defense. In fact, actually, we don't need that even. Okay, hang on. First things first, let's go and release Eritrea. Release as a puppet. And that will be that. So now Eritrea is released. It is liberated. This is the Eritrean kingdom. And we're going to do the same with the Somali Sultanate. We're going to release you as a puppet. There we go. And this is now the Somali Sultanate. So these are our puppets. We are liberating Africa. We are not colonizing Africa, right? So yes, we will liberate all these countries. So these are our puppets, but we now have no longer to deal with occupied territory, and we've got the Eritrean kingdom and the Somali Sultanate as puppets. So what does that mean? They are giving us 90% of their manpower, and they're giving us a decent trade, and we can build things on their territory if we so desire. So the other uptick that has is that these now get their own focus trees. So these guys now have their own focus trees, so they can build up their own industry, which is great. So they can be actually useful. So we have the Somali Sultanate and the Eritrea as our subjects, which means we don't need to deal with the borders in the south here, which are really hard to defend. We probably actually don't. I mean, I'm still going to construct that train line, but we now no longer have necessarily supply problems here either. The other problem, obviously, right now is that we're landlocked. So, but that means also we don't necessarily need these troops to be. We don't need these troops to be there for port defense. I mean, we're going to need some for port defense, but we are also going to get ourselves some more regular troops. In fact, I'm going to get myself 6 more divisions for a total of 24, and then we'll have that army completed. All right, what else can we do? This is he's already an army organization specialist. He's an army regrouping expert. Have we gotten them? We've got him already in, and he is the army regrouping expert. Yes, so we will eventually switch them out, because he's going to still rank up and become more powerful. All right, so what are we going to do with our troops for now? We are going to, in fact, probably, let's see how if I'm going to defend against the British, how many divisions do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got six provinces that I need to defend from the British. This isn't accessible, is it? I don't think it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that means we could technically even just release the rest of them into border guards here and get ourselves 11 more divisions. There we go, 11 more divisions. Then these troops here are going to hold that border, not all of it. There's no need, because we're not going to call our puppets in in the beginning, and they will be, for all intents and purposes, they will be neutral nations, and that means we can get the rest of the troops. I don't need all of them on this border, so let's just get half of them onto this border. No, not that. I want this whole thing, yeah. And then the other half are going to go on the borderline here. And that means we can give them offensive orders to take these things of the Allies. That will be our first. That will be our first action. We're going to retake these parts here from the British and the French. We no longer need these defensive lines here, and we don't really have to deal with with naval invasions or garrisoning our coast, because the Somali Sultanate and the Eritrean Kingdom are now formally independent. I mean, they are practically not independent, and you need a different color for your army. Completely looking the same. We're going to make you green. There we go. So I can distinguish what I'm doing here. And then the next action will be to cut the British troops in half, because the British have possessions in the south here. Infrastructure-wise, there is some infrastructure here, but relatively little. There's nothing at all over here, but there's a relatively decent infrastructure going up the Nile River. So our first push is going to be, because the Sahara Desert is actually inaccessible, the first push is going to be trying to cut the British off here. Now the problem is there's absolutely bugger all infrastructure. So one thing we can do, and I know this is going to take forever, but one thing we can do is try to build a supply hub here, which is going to allow us to cut through this line without running completely dry on supply. And we'll obviously also need a railroad connection from the capital. There we go. Okay, so that's that. Yeah, that is going to take a while. So that can come after we repair the infrastructure and finish that military factory. And we still have to do the railroad. Yes, we do have, however, an action here to reorganize the railway system, which gives us 300% construction speed on supply hubs. So that's something we can do. But this is for the future. We're just planning ahead at this point. Right now we are extremely out of everything. So I'm going to put it back to 3 speed for now. And we are just going to watch our troops get back into positions and get ready for the next action. We do have something available. We can do military parades. Not particularly interested. What does it cost me? Political power. And it gives me gives them unaligned support. I mean, they are mostly non-aligned. How about Eritrea? Yeah, it's fine. We're not interested in those right now. We don't need military parades at this point. But we are going to need trains. Trains are a problem. Now we can commandeer some civilian trains, but we haven't researched trains yet, and it costs 5% stability. We might have to do it though, unless we can get ourselves some more factories. And yes, manpower is a problem, as you can see. We are already on extensive conscription. I don't want to go to service by requirement, because that starts decreasing my factory output, which I'm not happy about. But the very next thing after nationalism focus is we are going to have to do something about fascism. Now, the problem is this costs us stability, but it then increases stability again, and it reduces the fascism support, so it's all a good thing. News pop-up. Yes, we want to read that. Humiliation in Africa. Peace treaty was signed between Haile Selassie and Benito Mussolini, ending the hostilities. Despite the massive power difference, Ethiopian government came out on top with these negotiations. Italy must enter a truce, and Eritrea and Italian Somaliland have been officially ceded to Ethiopia. And this is the second defeat for the Italian armed forces. Government is in shambles and will likely take many years before the wounded pride truly recovers from this defeat. So yeah, and the Germans claim Memel. They do that. We do have to keep an eye on what the Germans are doing. Once they are declaring war on the Allies, we have to justify a war goal against the French as well. Now we need 50% world tension for that to happen, so we can't do that yet. But the Germans are adding are adding tension to things. And in the meantime, we are going to just rearm and keep an eye on things and make sure that everything's proper. Okay, so we've got the troops. We're starting to have the troops in position. Why is this division not part of any front line? You should be on one of these front lines. And we'll put you on this one. How do these defensive lines look? They look rather flimsy. Why would you decide to station 3 divisions in the mountains and only 1 division in the hills over here? I am uncertain, but okay, we've got the nationalism focus done. Right, so next up, militarism. Although I am going to take a quick look, and I might actually take the equipment effort first, because that gives us a research bonus for infantry weapons. What can we research in terms of artillery? I want to modernize our production as much as possible. We can research improved artillery, 88 days, and this is taken 176 days. So maybe we'll take this one, or we could use it to do a ahead of time research after that. But we would have to get through this to get to infantry weapons 3, so it's not quite worth it, I guess. We already done the doctrine efforts. We're going to need trucks. Do we need trucks? Not necessarily. I don't think we do. Does the maintenance company need trucks? That is actually my question here. Maintenance company. Don't think it does. Hang on. Let's just try that. So if these guys were to get a maintenance company, no, they just need support equipment. How about okay, we haven't done recon yet anyway. Okay, cool. We don't necessarily need the truck research bonus. We definitely are not going to do. I'm not sure what the ahead of time penalty reduction for trucks is. This is mechanization effort. This would be mechanized infantry, which we don't have the industry to build. I'm going to take the equipment effort, and then we'll do militarism. Now, so the thing is, we now have gained the nationalism spirit, which increases the daily fascist support by 0.1, and will be removed in 1941. So basically in 2 years. Now the problem is, that means the fascists are now getting more fascism, which we don't want. We will eventually use anti-fascist raids to reduce that again. So we'll have to keep a lid on it. But because it is going to reduce all these nice bonuses that we get from the ruling party popularity, it's not a huge problem for now. We can get ourselves maybe what are we going to get next? I think the very next thing I'm going to do is spend 50 political power to get to swap these out. Actually, to swap these 2 out, and get my general in here, because he will be eventually become a genius, I believe, at level 8 or so. He's at level 7 already, yeah. So at level 8 he should, I think, be at level 8 he gets a better skill. So I need him in power. I need him in position here, and not here. So once we reach 50 political power, and now you see fascism is on the rise. Now we can. Okay, I need to fire this one first. Am I doing the right one? This is the division recovery rate. Yes, so remove him and get him in position. Okay, good. What can we... I don't think there's anything we could do. Yeah, anti-fascist raids needs 10% fascism support. We could ban fascism, which would cause us... how long is this going to be active? We could just outright ban fascism, which means it changes the daily popularity. We lose a bit of base stability, but because fascism isn't particularly big just yet, it's not an awful lot. I think this becomes more expensive as it goes, but it does cost 100 political power to take this decision. I'm not sure for how long exactly it's going to be active. But we don't have the political power to do it right now anyway, so we will see. We will reduce fascism as we go, because they are starting to get seats in well, we don't technically have a parliament, but they are getting power influence in the government, which is something that we're not particularly happy about. Okay, we put everything back to normal here, normal priorities, because I do want to get these troops out at some point. And they are starting to get, they're still short on artillery because, well, everybody is. We are extremely short on everything. We are short on trains as well, so that's probably going to be our next research priority. We do need to add a support equipment production line. And we also need anti-air. Which is going to be quite essential against the British at some point. So we're going to need that as well. But I don't have the military factories to make that happen. So we might be able to take some of infantry weapons at some point once we've produced enough. What's our we had full production efficiency almost with both artillery and the infantry weapons. This is going to change once we research better weapons, but for now that's what it's going to be. We are going to remain on war economy. We could get a captain of industry, but honestly, I don't think it's hugely important right now. We could get a Prince of Terror, which gives us something if we want to occupy territory. But again, it's not hugely useful because we don't necessarily want to occupy territory. We're here to liberate Africa, not to colonize it. So that's that. All right. And I think we might be able, so trains are an issue. So, but we've almost got mechanical computing. I will speed it up a little bit because there's not an awful lot happening. I just need to keep an eye on the, okay, that's done. Just need to keep an eye on things. I could do computing machine, but I think at this point I'd rather get the better artillery. Let's get that done first. And I believe we could actually design ourselves a tank. Yes, we could design a tank, but we don't need no tanks right now. We haven't even researched recon. So yeah, that's not happening. We do have some oil. This is literally just or some fuel. This is just the base trickle that you get, that every country gets. We obviously have no resources, and we don't want to run a fuel expensive operations. And we don't have the. It'd be nice to have an air force, but I don't really see that happening either unless we get some aluminium, which I think where's the resource there, which I think is nowhere here. We could, as usual, trade for it, and we might have to but we haven't also researched any planes, so anything here would be very, very basic and would not stand up in any shape or form whatsoever. Which is why we are going to use support anti-air eventually, and that'll solve quite some problems. The other thing that I would like to research, and this actually might require trucks if I remember correctly, are field hospitals. It doesn't. Does it tell me? I don't think it tells me here. I don't think it tells me what it is. Yeah, it's in this area. So it doesn't. It's locked because we haven't researched trucks yet. So we are gonna need to research trucks, and this I think requires trucks. But this would have the nice effect that we're not losing as much manpower. Now we still have 73,000 manpower, but that's all we're gonna get. And that's not going to be enough to take on the British in Africa. So what can we do? We don't want to do promises of peace because that trades stability for war support. But there will be no peace, and I don't like lying to my subjects. So, and I need the political power for other things. The one thing, Italy claims Yugoslavia. Yeah, good luck with that, Italy. And things are heating up in Europe. The Germans are getting bigger, and we are slowly. You see, our infantry equipment output is actually relatively decent. We are slowly working down. We've got 4 factories now, so we can actually start. Where am I getting? Do I have 6 factories here? Apparently, I do. Okay, that's good to know. But yeah, construction is very slow as usual. And the equipment effort is almost done. And then we're going to go down the militarism route, which is going to give us additional manpower. Okay, so that's done. That means we can research. Do I want to throw the motorization effort in? Not yet. I want militarism first, because that increases our manpower. Now the thing is, we still can't ban fascism, but it's gonna get more expensive in terms of stability. Now it reduces the daily fascism support that is coming in, but it's 0.1 fascism support, and this reduces it by 0.05. So it slows it down to half speed basically. So alternatively, once it gets this is a flat out stability cost, but it instantly removes fascism basically, but then it'll trickle back up again. So we may as well just do the anti-fascist raids, to be fair. We just need to wait for it to become up to 10%. It's not a huge problem. You see, we are starting to lose a bit of stability because of that, which hurts our factory output, obviously. But we are already we're in April 39. Okay, that's still going to go on for almost a little bit less than a year. We still cannot justify on France, because obviously the world tension isn't high enough. But I think once the Germans are getting busy there, that is not going to be an issue anymore. All right, we are starting to work down our deficit though, and I think we are actually probably okay with 1 on RT. So we'll leave that at that. The one thing we're going to need to do is trade more once we're starting to use these as well. But we might be able to reduce the amount of factories we use for infantry equipment. I just want to get better infantry weapons once the next research slot becomes available. We can modify the officer corps. We could. How can we get a chief? Oh no, I don't want a chief of navy, a chief of air force. Okay. We will have to reduce maybe at some point static warfare. I am thinking of flexible organization. That gives division speed, which is very good. But the very first, so kind of the next thing I really want to do is go down this route more. So we might spend the political power to get ourselves a theorist. Either that, or we wait for 150 for a material designer. But it's kind of late in the game. I think the theorist is going to be more useful for me. So land doctrine cost minus 10%. We could also, I think this gives us land doctrine cost as well. So this is a good one to have as well. We could switch that to overwhelming firepower, but it's not hugely important, because it's unless I was really heavily investing in artillery. I'm more interested in switching to probably to flexible org, but we can or to smoke and fire, which gives us plus 5% breakthrough, which is also not bad. This is division training time. This is better recon, which we don't really have. Victory or death is not terrible, but I think flexible org is what I want, because movement speed is really going to be quite essential. So everybody should be trained up, I believe. No, actually, they can still train these divisions up to proper. These divisions are all good, but they can do some exercises. It's going to cost me some equipment, but we're starting to burn down the deficit here. Now we do have to keep an eye on the timeline, because Germany is going to start kicking off some nonsense with France, and at that point we are going to get into advanced machine tools is done, which means we have one slot free. Yes, we're going to need construction at some point, but right now I want the better infantry weapons, and I want to start switching my production over as soon as possible. Now the one thing that I would like to have is the maintenance company. The problem is this is going to cost me support equipment, which I don't have. So that is really going to be the very next thing we're going to need to start producing. I think I'm going to already take one factory of infantry equipment and put that into support, just so we can start building up the production efficiency, because that is going to take a while, because we are obviously out of... I'm actually going to drag that up here, just so they can get a little bit quicker. Yeah, it's only a 5% because of lack of resources. And are we already going to change these templates? I know, I'm changing the templates directly into maintenance company. How much support equipment would that require? 575. Yeah, it's going to take a while. I'm not going to change that just yet. Especially that these are going to be the divisions that are probably going to have to take the brunt of things first anyway. Do these guys actually have... what is this, by the way? Oh, this is my old, really small infantry template. We don't need that anymore. We don't need that anymore. That's my... Why is this called Cavalry Template 1? This is the one I'm using for... I don't have any occupied territory, so I can't check. I thought this was the one. Anyway. We're not probably going to use the armored divisions, so I'm just going to be decommissioning that as well. And these guys have, these are 10 with no artillery. Could I give them support artillery? How much arty would that require? 132 towed artillery. It's not going to do an awful lot. No, I'm not going to give to them, because it's not going to do an awful lot. They just need to hold, need to dig in and hold, and that's something we're actually pretty good at. So these troops here are all in position to assault both the British and the French once the things happen, and then hopefully we can just, these divisions will be just dug in and are holding to make sure that the British aren't getting through. We are in defensible territory here, except for the south, which is a little bit weak. So I wonder if I can actually just get one division to move there, or if the game isn't gonna let me. My generals are not happy with that. And we are slowly starting to build up support equipment, but yeah, this is gonna take a while. Okay, improved RT is done. So now we can, what did we want to research next? Engineers would be nice, because engineers are, I think, giving me movement bonuses. Yes, so engineers in where are we? In forest or hills are going to give me a massive defense bonus, and are giving me a movement bonus in forests. But I'm not going to have as much. I'm not going to have that much. I'm not going to have that much support equipment to just add more of these. We do need to research trucks at some point. And we do need to also somewhat keep up with our industry. Construction would help. Maybe I'll throw one in on construction. And now obviously we want to change our towed artillery to improve towed artillery, which is completely going to ruin our production efficiency. But towed artillery 2 is better. So we'll do that. Yeah, there it goes. And it's going to take a while to get back up again. But we've almost caught up with our artillery needs. Like I said, we are going to need line artillery, but I want to build up a little bit of a stockpile first. And we are going to need to trade for more steel soon, because we are also going to, once that factory is complete, it's going to go into towed anti-air, which is the next thing that we're going to be needing as well. And yeah, trains. Trains are a problem, actually. I think I'm going to switch that into trains, actually. Where were trains? Trains were done somewhere here, yeah. Let's do that. Yeah, switch that into trains. I am going to need trains. And I can't request any trains, because I can't commandeer civilian trains, because we haven't researched the train yet. We are a little bit behind on those things. We've got 25 convoys though, which is neat. These were still from the Germans when we were when we were engaged when they were engaged in supporting us. We can't do that yet because the fascism is above 10%. So we can do this actually. We can do anti-fascist raids, and this is going to slow them down a little bit. We could also just outright ban it, which is going to take it away. but it's going to cost us 8.5% base stability. And I don't have the 100 political power as usual. And it's fine. We will deal with it as it goes. But the more important ones are these here. That we are... it gives us 20 army XP and gives us 5% recruitable population. Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. The Germans and the Soviets promise to never, ever, ever attack each other. Yeah, about that. 33%, nowhere near at 50 yet. We can't justify on the French. But I think my divisions are almost done exercising. So that's a good thing. And we are starting to get new divisions out. Slowly, but we're getting there. Militarism is finished. Nice. Which means we can now get the improved doctrine. I think the integrated support was better. That gives me 25% at soft attack and org, plus 10 org on support companies. And this is for line artillery recovery and line artillery... support. Support is where we want to go. So that's where we're going next. That should boost our capabilities a little bit. We're making our way out of the infantry equipment slump that we're having, but as soon as we've researched better guns, obviously that'll be completely down again. So right now we're just going to make use and producing infantry equipment 1 just to fill out the divisions that we're having. Oh, I forgot to set the next one. Motorization, because we're going to need trucks and trains. Dang it. I'm doing it anyway. But we now have... Okay, concentrate, it's done, which means... can we already get here? No. So let's go 1 in construction. Which means... And what was going on here? Oh yeah, we can do the anti-fascist raids now. That is probably good. So that's that gives... that donks our base stability down by 10%, but we get it back over time. And it reduces the fascism. So, or at least it reduces the speed in which fascism is gaining popularity. So it slows it down, and we are going to regain our stability over time. Okay, we've got some fresh divisions out. So these are going to go into the army, and make sure that these are fully trained, because they can still train more. But we are slowly starting to run into supply issues. And this is again where trucks come in. We are going to need trucks because supply is going to be a problem going forward. We've got so many divisions here now that we're starting to run a little low on supply. Yeah, stored supply. I think we need to draw some... So we need to take some divisions off here. I think we will take the newly commissioned divisions and not send them over there. We're actually going to give them a fallback line. We're just going to get them to reinforce the front, especially here. I'm sort of worried about that. So let's send these over here. That should hopefully alleviate the supply situation in the east a little bit. But yeah, we don't have a great amount of supply, and we're only using horses to transport it. So obviously the supply ports have issues supporting each other. It is overlapping supply, but still it's not a great amount. And yes, we are short on trains, which is probably the bigger issue here. But we are going to need trucks anyway at some point. So these divisions can reinforce over here. And this should be sufficient to kick the British out from there, hopefully. But yeah, trucks is something we're going to need. More unassigned divisions. I am going to do a second line. It's going to go there. And then these two can make sure that the Brits are not coming through here in the north. So let's get these two over there, and they also can exercise. We are starting to have a positive support equipment set, but trains are sorely missing. So that's unfortunately yet another military factory, unless I am just going to use this and purchase myself 15 trains for 5 stability, which I don't like doing, but I think it's a shortcut we can take just to sort out the immediate supply problems that we're having. So militarism gives me 5% recruitable population, and we see it is starting to it is starting to increase. And we've got more unassigned divisions. They can go to that line here. But yeah, we're starting to strain our supply regions a little bit. So that is all a bit of an issue. But we'll get there. We'll get there. More unassigned divisions. I'm going to send you... Okay, I'm going to make a third line then. Go here, and I'm going to get you just to be ready here. Why we only have one division up in the north? Actually, let's include that line then. There we go. That looks extremely weird, and I'm going to delete it. There. And we'll make a new... That's what I wanted. Thank you. Thank you, game. And we've got one division. Yeah. Okay. So, we are gaining manpower, and we are training... We're training a bunch of fresh divisions here. We've got 2 more in training, and that will be necessary, because if we're going to push against the British, that is going to take quite some doing. I do want to start having the support equipment in here, the maintenance company, but 575 support equipment, and we are producing 4 per week, so that is still going to be. That is still going to be a whiles away. I'll hold back. I'll hold back a little bit more. I still want a bit more of a stockpile before we do that. We can obviously ask the Germans, and I am considering joining the Axis first, just so we can. Even though it means that we're in the same faction as the Italians, but the Italians have been utterly humiliated. So in that regard, the Germans are going to be. Supportive of us and going to give us Lend-Lease. But even if we're not joining the faction, and I mean, we can even create our own faction, to be honest, and start in. I mean, there are some free African countries like Liberia. We could create our own faction. I'm not sure what I need to. Not sure what I need to do in order to make that happen. Is there... Can create faction. Here, it's the ideological fanaticism. That's what we need to get to. So we're going to get through military youth as well. Paramilitarism, which isn't that important. And then to ideological fanaticism. And that is what we are going to... we might create our own faction. And... I don't know, call it the African Union or something, and see if we can bring Africa out of the age of colonialism a hell of a lot earlier than otherwise happening. And if you wanted to argue about today's politics, you could still say that Africa is, to a degree, still suffering from economic colonialism. All right, we have researched better weapons. We now have submachine guns. So that's going to cost us, again, in production efficiency. Doink, yes, because we have concentrated industry. But we have also the... we're also building more modern weapons. And we get the more factory output out of that whole thing. So this is all very important. But this is ahead of time. We're still waiting for the motorization effort. How long is that going to still take? It's going to take 14 days. So I think I'm just going to let it. I'm just going to research something else and then switch. So we can put some into computing machine for now, and we'll switch that over once we've got the motorization effort done, and then we'll do the truck research. We are researching trains as well. World tension is at 32%. The Germans, what are the Germans doing? What do we know about the Germans? Not an awful lot, probably. We don't know what they're doing, but we have no idea about what focuses they're having. I have no spy agency, so there's absolutely nothing I can do here to make that happen. And we are still short on infantry equipment, but not by an awful lot. We're getting there. We are getting there. We're starting to build up a little bit of artillery. And like I said, line artillery should be coming, but probably only for the aggressive. Poland refuses German ultimatum. Grave situation indeed. 37%. So Germany is about to kick off World War II in earnest. and that should get them into conflict. Yeah, they declared war on Poland. That should get Poland to join the Allies, and then Germany is at war with the Allies. We're at 45%, so we need a little bit more world tension to be able to justify on France. But it shouldn't be taking too long. For now, Germany is just going to be busy in Zog submits, so Albania is now Italian. Mussolini getting some of his reputation back. What are these guys doing, by the way? Let's have a quick look. Yeah, you see, they're just building factories, which is awesome. And that means at some point they're going to be building their own troops. Right now they can't. I know that I can build colonial troops. So I could build divisions. They obviously have inherited the division. Some of the divisions, not all of them, but some they have inherited. So I could copy these and build these with their troops in my own army. The problem I've been running into this, and I don't know if this is a bug. If you know anything about this, let me know. The problem I've seen with this during testing is that if I do that, if I copy these over, and I get like these, for example, and I use these, if they take manpower losses, they don't reinforce. So for some reason, even though I'm using other people's manpower, they don't seem to be reinforcing these divisions as they should. So we might let them just do their own thing for a while, and we can actually request their forces. If they build their own divisions, we can request their forces as well, and that doesn't strain my production lines, because right now I am having a decent amount of manpower. Well, it's not huge, but I am having somewhat of an amount of manpower. So that's just something that we were just going to be going with. All right, Germany is busy in Poland, and as we can see, that does not go well for the Polish. But motorization effort is almost done. World tension still at 45%. Motorization effort is done. Perfect. Now we can go to military youth and get us 2% more recruitable population, which we're going to be needing. And we can switch this over into trucks, which should not take an awful lot of time at all. There we go. So it's going to take 48 days to research trucks, which is good. And we are just waiting for the world tension to rise. Yeah, the German Reich is doing some things. We are researching trains. Our arsenal is slowly growing, which is very nice to see. We still need to sort out the train problem, but we'll get there. Ideally, we sort that out before we start attacking the Allies, because fighting out of supply is always very unpleasant. But right now, German Reich is just busy taking over Poland and then sharing it with the Soviets, because this is a historical run. How is my fascism looking like? We're in September, so we're almost in 1940. So this whole thing is still going to go on for another year, which means once we could run Banfascism, but it is going to cost us 12 stability, and it would effectively almost halt the fascism support. Okay, we've got another division can go here, and that division can go on this line. Yeah. Just finish training, finish your exercises, which costs us some equipment, just due to attrition. I think it is about time. How's our construction going? I think we've got 3. We've got 5 in use, one on trade, 2 on consumer. We used to have 6. It says 6 before. Now, yeah, rounding errors. We're almost done repairing, so Fall of Warsaw, and then we will trigger that thing once that's done. Let's get our infrastructure repaired, because I think that hopefully helps. I'm not sure if that still helps with supply. And we are okay, but sort of in the orange here. Yeah, German pressure towards the Benelux. That's when we have to declare on France. Which means which means it might be high time, unfortunately, it might be high time to add the maintenance company here. I could do and just switch them. I mean, it's gonna take a while still, but at least some of them will have it. It'll weaken my divisions a little bit because they're not fully equipped, but not by a huge amount. And it means that it does mean that they can start capturing equipment as well from the British, which is going to be great. So I think I'm going to do that already. There we go, done. I know I could switch them gradually over, but you know. Right now, this also means that once we're at war, we can actually easily ask the Germans to help us out with that. Poland has capitulated. There we go. Now we're at 50%. So now how long is this going to take if we're justifying on France? This is going to take 45 days. So we might not need to do that yet. Once Germany invades the Netherlands, probably is the right time to do it. Because I also still have to train up my troops. So how is this looking? Train's almost done. What's Germany up to? It shouldn't take long for Germany to declare on the Netherlands. What is it? War propaganda against Germany? No, why would we want to do that? These people have been helping us. The amount of fascism that we're having, though, is starting to get a little concerning. But we do need to make sure that we declare on France first before we use the political power for something else. And we will be in an offensive war, so that's going to donk our stability quite massively. It is increasing due to the anti-fascist raids, but we will lose quite a little bit. We could now ban fascism, which is going to cost us 12.5%. And I think that's too much because we're already going to be at 45. We might just do the raids again and just keep doing the raids if we can, because that would get us down minus 12.5%. So that would get us down to under 35. So which means we'd be dealing with strikes and similar problems. And yes, it's still trying to get me to hire a chief of navy or something. Well, let's see what the Germans are doing. 45 days should be long enough that France is not capitulated just yet. Maybe we'll start it already. They are obviously in an alliance with England and everything. They're at war with Germany. We do want French Somaliland. 9 political power, 45 days. So we can leave it around a little bit. I mean, we can technically already attack France. I'm just leaving it as long as possible, such that the French are busy in France and not down south here, because I would like them to move their troops off, so I don't have to deal with them. Ideally, let's leave it a little bit longer and see what the Germans are up to. Okay, Belgium. German Reich has declared war on Belgium. Now is the time that we start justifying on France. Okay. Justify French Somaliland. Send. That gets that done. And these troops are almost finished training, but they are in a probably... So Italy has joined the Axis. That is the point when we would have... That's quite late, actually. But that is the point when we would have no longer been able to call the White Peace. All right, so let's get that sorted. I would, how are we on equipment? We are under 1,000 missing infantry equipment. That is great. And obviously we're still very short on support equipment. And I think we've just lost our trade. No, we still have it. Why are we so much short? Okay, while we still can, let's trade for more steel from the Soviets and boost our production a little bit, especially the production efficiency growth. Netherlands are now at war with the Germans, and the Germans are pushing. So we do need to make sure... Oh no, that's just... we're just above 100 again. Now I am sort of thinking of using that to do ban fascism. 12.8%. So let's say 13. That gets us down to 61, which means we under 35. But we still have a stability growth from the rates. Plus, it'll reduce fascism popularity massively, and basically give us a 3% stability from... This could just work. Okay, let's try it. So we'll ban fascism, which instantly removes fascism. Now it's still growing, technically. But let's see. No, it's not growing anymore because we now have the raids and the ban in place. Once the raids are over, it starts growing again a little bit, but not an awful lot. And this, now we're at 65. We're just exactly where we need to be. Perfect. Hungary has joined the Axis. Japan is busy in China. And we need to finish up our justification. Still a month. So I don't think the French are going to go down in a month. The Germans are still stuck in are still trying to get through the Benelux. So let's give them a little bit more time. But I think soonishly I need to stop my... Yeah, I am going to need to stop already the exercises. Okay, train research is finished. Now the problem is, because I just spent all my stability, I can't commandeer civilian trains. So I am going to have to make the buggers, which is very annoying. But what I can also do is literally just ask the Germans for it and see if they have any. But we are starting to build up a little bit of anti-air. Soviet Union occupies Eastern Poland, and we need to research something. I am going to get myself... This is ahead of time. This is all ahead of time. This we're already doing. This is still a year ahead. We could finish the computing machine, but I think I'm actually just going to go for the better maintenance company because that gives me an additional equipment capture rate. So let's just do that. Okay. And keep an eye on Europe. We need to finish. We need to declare on. We need to take that off France before France capitulates. We question the French motives. Yep, the French are colonizers, and we don't want no colonizers in our country, in our continent. So when are we going to be finished justifying against France? Still 24 days. I hope the Germans aren't taking over France before that. That would be unfortunate, very much, because I do want that bit. Okay, trucks are finished, which is good, which means we need to build trucks, but it also means that we can now start researching field hospitals, which I eventually will add, but it needs support equipment and trucks, which we don't have. So let's just can we build any more military factories? Yes, we can. Okay, build me another military factory. Okay, we've got the factories now on that, and I completely forgot about that. I do need to trigger the reorganized railway system there, and that will slightly improve the construction speed of that thing. Still gonna take quite a while. German interest in Scandinavia. Germany is interested in many things. Okay, Germany, please don't start. Denmark joins the Allies. Don't get through here before I've taken over Djibouti. Yeah, I need that, please. Norway's joined the Allies. Germany declared war on Norway. The Netherlands have capitulated. That is unfortunate. Come on, come on. Don't just walk through the French here. I still need 17 days until I can actually... I might have been a little bit late on this. Just wanted to give myself sufficient time, but this might go sideways if I've made a mistake here. We'll find out. So they're still busy in Belgium, but it looks like Belgium is going to be falling relatively soon. 10 more days. 10 more days. Come on, France can hold for 10 days, right? France can hold for 10 days. Well, 10 days and however long I need to capture this, but I don't think they can. I don't think they can hold here for very long. Belgium, oh crap! Belgium already capitulated. This went a lot faster than it normally does, I think. So now they're attacking France. Luxembourg's joined the Allies. Okay, Germany, please, Luxembourg, hold the Germans off just for a little bit, please. While I am... Okay, they're already invading France. This might... Luxembourg's capitulated. This might not go my way. I might have waited a little bit too long here. 5 more days. Come on, France. Hold for 5 more days. Hold off the Germans for 5 more days. You can do that. I just need a little bit of time to capture Djibouti before you capitulate. Because otherwise that goes to Vichy France. And while this isn't terrible, because I have to fight the Germans eventually, it'd still be nice if it wasn't. Okay, justification is finished. So we are instantly going to declare war on France. We're not going to call our allies in. Send. So Ethiopia has now declared war on France, which means we are immediately going to assault with all our forces into this area here. We're going to send 1 division here, actually. Oh, because Britain isn't yet in. Okay, that's fine. We'll just assault them here. Britain is going to be in a second, but we should be able to... So the Germans are now offering us to join the Axis, and I am... How's my deficit? It's actually not huge. I'm going to decline it for now, because we are going to have our own faction. We're going to decline it for now. We might do it later, but so now France is at war. Everyone's at war with everyone. Right. World War is kicked off. So we will send 1 division from here just to cut off the French, and the rest of them just has to hold for the meantime. I just need to capture this before France capitulates. This shouldn't be taking an awful lot longer, because our divisions are quite powerful. Military youth is finished, and that means we can go straight to paramilitarism. Is there anything else really urgent that we need to research? We can't get the research slot 2 just yet. We could. This would be supply hub construction speed 10%. We might just do that for a while, just to get that finished. But we are now at war with the British as well. Now we have some offensive divisions here. We could try to cut them off while they're not ready. And I think I am going to do that. So, all of this is going to come in the next episode. We have some problems to sort out. First of all, the French have to hold for a day or two longer for me to take their port in Djibouti. The British, we're now at war with the British as well. So, Ethiopia, we're not calling in the Eritrean Kingdom or the Somali Sultanate just yet. They are starting to build some factories. But we are at war with the Allies. So we are at war with France, UK, Australia, not the US just yet, but all these people. Since we're not calling in our puppets, they can't naval invade us. But what we can do is we can take the British by surprise. So what we can do is we can attempt to push north here and take this river line off them, and take some of the supply ports. And that would allow us hopefully to cut them off in the north, such that they can't reinforce between these two. They can't really attack us from the south. I mean, we could also push in the south, but we don't have any supply here. So the next supply port is in, I believe, in Nairobi, but let me check. Yes, so there are some supply ports here, but that's a fairly far push. So we're gonna have to sort this out first, and then I'll push gently a little bit, maybe in the north, or maybe I'll try to just put a wedge between them here. But we're not gonna have supply, so it's gonna be difficult to hold that, and the British are gonna be pouring troops into Africa once they are kicked out of. I don't even know if there are any British fighting in France at this point, but yeah, that's going to be coming in the next episode. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.